Calamari, salutations everyone! Squid here bringing you the draft analysis for the YCL Season 3. So, your ex-analyst has decided to turn back to the competition, and YCL always feels like home, man. I made such good friends here, and I will hope to continue getting along with all these beautiful people that are around this community, and we will come back strong this season. Will we? I don't know, maybe. The competition is fierce, gotta say. Sven is here, Sally Mumble is here. There are both coaches that I respect a lot. Harry also. And we have some pretty high ELO or CCS score coaches in Makeda and Champion Braden. So it will be really interesting to see how this season pans out. Really looking forward to it. I'm also one of the commissioners, helping Sen get around his league with the best, in the best way possible. And yeah, so I just want to say that I hope this is a wonderful season for everyone. And without further ado, let's start on the draft analysis stuff. So, in case you are wondering, this league is a 20-coach league this season. That's a lot, and we all drafted from the same pool. So, it will be interesting to see how this affected all of the teams. Basically, no team is perfect, because there's such competition between picks that it's basically impossible to draft a full-on perfect team from 20 coaches. And there's one thing that you have to note, and that may influence choices that I made, which is there's an item clause in this league. So the item clause surely comes in effect when you pick low tier mons, because if you pick multiple not fully evolved mons, you will rely a lot on Eviolite, and that may prove a hassle to deal with. At the same time, if you have your walls, you can't just stick lefties in all of them. You have to vary the items a little bit, and that also makes for scouting in a battle way easier than in my other league, the UPA, where you are free to pick your items whichever way you want. So that also influences the picks I made. Into 20 coaches, I was the 18th overall pick, which is not ideal, not gonna lie, because at the same time I could have picked stuff that's really powerful. There were things available like Tapu Koko, Tornti when the draft first came to me, but there was a mon that I really wanted to try out because I feel like it would be a lot of fun. It's Volcanion, and by the way, I've already spoiled to you the tiers that I picked, so I didn't pick an S tier. I was of the opinion that since I was 18th in the draft overall, I wanted to go for more low-tiered mons that would give me a lot of potential and value. But yeah, let's talk about Volcanion. I feel like Volcanion's stat distribution is way too good. Way too good. The way that they took off 20... it's a 600 base stat mon, okay. But the way they took off the 20 points from the HP, but boosted up its defense at the same time, this thing is very bulky. More bulky than you are probably thinking. That 130 special attack is monstrous, and I'm gonna utilize it. But if you think that I'm not gonna utilize that 110 attack stat, you probably haven't watched my channel a lot, so be warned that I will run physical Volcanion as well as special. And Water Absorb is an amazing ability and gives me a Dracovish check right off the way, because Dracovish is annoying and I hate it, and I hate everyone that drafts it. Sorry, that's just my hot take. Yeah, so at the same time, Volcanion has a phenomenal typing in Fire and Water. Fire Water gives me a 4 times resist to fire. So I felt like I wanted to make the most of a mon that could pair really well with that 4 times resist to fire. Ferrothorn first came to mind, but Ferrothorn was taken before I could make my second pick, so I picked Caesar. Caesar is one of those mons that I wanted to try out for some time now. That technician boosted attacks are really deadly, and yeah, that 130 attack. So I have 130 attack on Caesar, I have 130 special attack on Volcanion, so I already have 2 really good breakers in my opinion. Caesar also does a lot of stuff for me. It's another defogger. Fun fact, I later found out that Volcanion is a defogger. I wasn't really counting on that, but sure, the bonus is nice. So we have 2 defoggers as the main focus of our team, and that's really good because I feel like that way removal won't be a problem. Yeah, removal won't be a problem, and that's really important to note for a pick that I made later. So yeah, I don't feel like I have much to say about Caesar. Oh, it gives me momentum too. Yeah, and that's basically it. So yeah, I look forward to see. Caesar is one of those versatile mons that you can run defensive, you can run special defensive, you can run setup Caesar, you can run Choice Scarf. Sen utilized Choice Scarf Caesar against me once and it was a hassle to deal with. So yeah, let's see how Caesar turns out. Next up, before I go into my next mon, I originally had picked Tapu Bulu. I picked Tapu Bulu because the grassy terrain would cover up the Volcanion's ground weakness way too good. It was the way that it covered its weaknesses was way too good to pass up. But I later realized, actually it wasn't me, it was Blattle that told me, yo, Tapu Bulu doesn't get a physical fairy stab. And then I was like, oh, that changes things. So at the same time, my team was looking a little bit on the slow side, and if I wanted slow, I'd rather go with a bulky slow. And the mon that I later traded down for Tapu Bulu was Alchemy. Alchemy has a monstrous special defense stat. Its defense isn't quite on the right spot, but it does have acid armor, I think, so I could set up with it. And Alchemy is one of those mons that I don't know really well. I feel like it doesn't fit my style, but I will still try to make it work this season. That special defense is still too good to pass up in my opinion, so I'd rather try to utilize it. Also, it gives me an Urshifu kind of check. Not quite, but at least I can potentially deal with it. And yeah, I think this is basically it. Yeah, Alchemy is also one of those mons that you can set up with Calm Mind and Acid Armor. You can basically then spam Draining Kiss and just KO the other team to death. There's not much to say about Alchemy because I haven't explored it much yet, but I will make it work one week or the other or whatever. And yeah, the mon that I picked now was, I had my Fairy, my Steel. I supposedly had my Fairy Water Grass core complete, so I wanted to complete my Steel Fairy Dragon core. And I saw a budget dragon that I felt like was too good to pass up. And if you don't take Flygon round 4, probably someone is gonna take it from you. So I decided to take it. I've utilized it before in the YCL Speed Tour. I kind of enjoyed it. It's more versatile than one would rather think. It doesn't have to run Dragon Dance every week. It can run Choice Band, it can run Choice Scarf. It's a good scarfer in my opinion. The U-turn momentum is really nice. The first impression priority is also really nice in some instances. And 80 special attack is something that I might utilize, I don't know. Probably not. Oh, and you can also run it bulky. And the levitate is always nice to pair up with the Volcanion, because if you want to go for ground type attacks, I say, no sir, you are not allowed to do that. And yeah, Flygon. I felt like it was a good dragon to pair up, to patch up the ground weakness of Volcanion. At the same time, I already have then one ground type that allows, it's a physical one, so I can spam Earthquake in some instances. And at the same time, I already have Volt Switch Momentum Stopper, so people can't Volt Switch on me all they want. And it's a third defogger on the team, so with 4 mons I have 3 defoggers. But now I have to start worrying about setting up my hazards. So at the same time that I wanted a Stealth Rocker, I knew I wanted a Stealth Rocker that wasn't a Rock type, because I would probably get one that was a Rock type later down the line. And at the same time I wanted a really bulky one. Corsogalar is the one that came to mind. This thing is really, really bulky. Strength Sap to heal it backups means that physical attackers won't be able to get rid of it as easily as they want. Cursed Body is an amazing ability that made me lose the semifinals of the first SRL season. And with the Violite, it's really bulky, but I do have to watch out for knockoff users. Knockoff users will be prevalent, and I knew that I wanted to pair up Corsola with a good knockoff switching. That's why I picked my next one that I will spoil in a little bit. But yeah, so I have a Stealth Rock setter, a pretty bulky one, at that good wall that I can run both physically and defensively, depending on the week. And yeah, Corsola Galar, look forward to it. It's more versatile than one would rather think. And the knockoff switching that I picked up was the Drapion. So if you remember, I originally picked Tapu Bulu, and I felt like Drapion was too good to pass up in the grassy terrain. Sure, I later traded down the grassy terrain, but oh well. We still have Drapion. It's still an amazing mon in itself, and it's one more hazard setter, because at this point in draft I really want hazard setters, and Drapion was it. I know that I sniped Harry on this one. Sorry buddy, but oh well. It's another mon that I've already used. It's kind of an Urshifu switching, kind of not, but... And I really like the Sniper ability, because if people want to set up defense boosts, Sniper just says nope. Nope, you can't do that. I will just set up my crits, and then those defense boosts that you have mean nothing. Battle Armor is another amazing ability. Not being able to get hexed with crits is also really nice. Hinai I won't be using much. And Drapion is also a pretty good Scarfer in my opinion, so if I want to run Drapion as a Scarfer, it's really good. At the same time, it's probably gonna be the most prevalent knockoff user on my team, because it's Stab. Scissor is another good knockoff user, but it's not Stab, so the Dark type, it's a Dark type that I paired with Corsola to patch up that Dark weakness, so it's really nice in my opinion. And next up, yeah, we have Pinsir. So I drafted another bug type. It's weird at the same time, but the reason I drafted Pinsir is for being another Stealth Rock setter that's not Rock type. And at the same time, it's a ground resist, and I might want a really good ground resist some week or the other. And you might say, yeah, sure Squid, but most ground types have rock coverage, and you'd be correct. But I don't care, I still want Pinsir. It was on the D tier, and with 40 mons I still think this mon is pretty good value. So at the same time, Scissor does different things than Pinsir does, so having the dual bug type I feel like doesn't hurt me that much. And if you remember, I have a pretty good fire switching in Volcanion. Flygon is also really good fire switching, so I'm not that worried on that instance. And as for flying switchings, I might have to grab one later. I did, and you'll see what I mean by it. So Mold Breaker and Moxie are two amazing abilities. 85 speed stat is also a good Scarfer. It has really good coverage with close combat, and I may need the fighting type coverage in some week or the other. Stealth Rock user, it's the main reason I picked it, and it being ground type switching. So yeah, that's Mr. for you. And I already have 2 Stealth Rockers. I knew I wanted a third one, but I could hold on that because I told you that I have really good removal on my team, and I feel like that's true. So I felt like this was the prime opportunity to pick a mon that I really love. It's my favorite legendary of all time. It's Articuno. It's majestic. It's also a defogger, but you won't run defog on the goddamn Articuno because this thing is beautiful. I love it. And you know, there's those picks that you make where you put your mind into it, and there's those picks that you make that you put your heart into it. And I felt like Articuno is one of those ones that I picked more from the heart than from the mind. But I don't care. I love it. It's beautiful. I intend to use it. I intend to sweep someone with it. If I do, I'm apologizing in advance to that person. So Articuno. Beautiful, beautiful mon. There's really nothing else to say. So that's 90, 100, and 125 defense stats are pretty good. Even if you hit it with a with the super effective move, it probably won't KO. It's quadrix to rocks, sure, but I have such good removal on my team that I felt like I didn't need to run boots on it every week that I want to bring it, because remember that you only can run one bootsmon every week, and at the same time it has really good moves in Hurricane, in Ice Beam, Stab, Ice Beam, Melt some teams. 85 speed stat is also a pretty good stat for Scarf. It also has Calm Mind. I feel like it has Calm Mind, so I can potentially set up Calm Minds with it also. And I love Articuno. It's such a beautiful mon. It's such a majestic mon. And for you to know how much I love Articuno, I considered it being my mascot for the team. But at the same time, I didn't feel like having a legendary as my mascot, so I went with Arcanine instead. But yeah, I love Articuno. I will try to sweep with it some week or every week. I don't know. I will try to bring it as much as possible, sure. Because I really look forward to use it. And as a wise man once said, really good coaches win with their favorites, not with what's good. So that's what I'm trying to use this season. I want to go with my favorites and try to still get some wins on the board. So next up, we have Kabutops. It's another Gen 1 mon, sure. I feel like people who play Gen 1 always have a bias towards picking Gen 1 mons, in my opinion, but I don't know. So this one, Blattle has tried to convince me multiple times to pick Kabutops, and he always says that Kabutops is such an amazing mon. Yeah, so I tried to pick it. Flip Turn Momentum will be really nice in my opinion. It also has some pretty good abilities in Swift Swim, Battle Armor, and Weak Armor. So if someone tries to utilize the rain against me, I will say, nah. I have Swift Swim. So yeah, the attack stat is not something to scoff at. And 80 speed sure feels like it's needed a little bit more. But the main reason I picked Kabutops, I originally had Almastar, but with the changes that I made after draft, I could fit Kabutops here. It's a rock type stealth rocker. It's also a rapid spinner, and I wanted one because I may not want to defog one week or the other. So I mainly picked the Kabutops because of the hazard control its setup. So, but still, it's pretty good mon, pretty good attacker. So I look forward to utilize it, and I love momentum on my team. I already have lots of momentum with Scissor and Flygon. Maybe I don't have lots of momentum yet, but with the Kabutops it's the third one. And let's go for the fourth one, a Volt Switch on the Heliolisk. So I was really needing a special fast electric type, because every team needs a fast electric type. In case you're wondering why that is, it's because it can't be paralyzed. So you always have some measure of speed control. 109 is not that fast, I'll say it. But it's the fastest thing on my team. I don't love that, but we gotta go as we gotta go. Dry Skin, Sand Veil, and Solar Power means that Heliolisk can basically function against any weather that people throw at us, and that Volt Switch is really good to gain momentum. It's also a normal type, so I can pair up with the Corsola to give it another switch into ghost types, ghost attacks. And yeah, not much else to say about Heliolisk. It does get some pretty good coverage that you might not expect, like Grass Knot and Surf to hit the pesky ground types that want to switch in on it. And this is basically Heliolisk. So we'll go now to Throw. It's the last mon, and gotta say this pick was kind of inspired by Mountay. I really like the way he's utilizing Throw in the pack. So I forgot to change his abilities, but it has Guts and Mold Breaker, I feel like. Oh well. It's really bulky, really bulky, and there's some neat things that you can do with that Guts ability. You can do rest, sleep, talk sets that, and the sleep procs the Guts boost, so that's really nice. With the Assault Vest, this thing is really bulky on the special side. With the Rocky Helmet, it can potentially cripple physical attackers, so it's also a really nice wall on my team. I feel like I have more walls than I'm used to, but oh well, we roll how it is, we roll how the team is, and this is the whole team. Gotta say, I'm not that happy with the way the draft turned out, but at the same time, there's some things that I'm really looking forward to use. The Volcanion, the Articuno, and the Scissor and the Kabutops. I feel like these four mons are the mons that I'm most excited about, and the mons that I really want to make shine throughout the season. But don't scoff at the rest of my team, it may surprise you. And yeah, this is basically my team for this season. I really hope you enjoyed. If you did, please comment down below which mon are you most excited about from my roster this season. And don't forget to leave a like on the video and subscribe if you haven't already. I'll see you on the next one. Squid, jetting out.